Hmm. 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 All right. So let me go ahead and get started. Anyways, hold on. Where do I begin on this one? Where do I begin on this one? It seems like people pretend to be us when it's convenient for them, but they don't want to face the challenge of what we have to deal with. Again, there's another woman who happened to be a white woman of Jewish descent, pretend to be black. Another Rachel Dolezal, another Rachel Dolezal in the. Y'all remember Rachel Dolezal, the lady who claimed that she was African American, was on the board of NAACP. Got called out by Rosa Clemente. Then come to find out her parents exposed her and said that no, that's not true. She's not a black woman. She's lying. Now we got this white woman coming out admitting that she was faking the funk all this time. She was faking like she was black. Hmm. How interesting is that? That's very interesting. Yeah. So I am going to read an article from theguardian.com about this Jessica Kruy woman. And it goes into detail and explaining why she pretended to be black and what was her reason. So let me go ahead and get started. White U.S. professor Jessica Kruy admits she has pretended to be black for years. Jessica Kruy, an activist who teaches African American history, writes Medium posts apologizing for false identity. All right. And it was written on Thursday on September the 3rd. A seasoned activist and professor of African American history at George Washington University has been pretending to be black for years, despite actually being a white woman from Kansas City. In case early remnants to Rachel Dolezal, Jessica Kruy took financial support from cultural institutions such as the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture for a book she wrote about fugitive resistance to the transatlantic slave trade. But according to a Medium post allegedly written by Kruy herself, her career was rooted in a toxic soil of lies. So, this woman who pretended to be black was getting all the financial support. Well, all she had to do was be herself. What was wrong with her being who she was, the white woman that she is? I mean, I'm quite sure she come from a pretty good background and she belonged in a group that are privileged. Why you gotta take from us? Why you gotta pretend to be us? Why? Why can't you be yourself? You're privileged. You get money. You get profit. You're more than likely to get a scholarship. Why could you not be yourself? The little crumbs that we get from the government, because that's what we get, the little crumbs. Why take that and try to use it for your own benefit? That's just like me trying to pretend that I'm a white woman. Now, anybody know good and well that I can't do it. If I try to pretend to be a white woman, I wouldn't get that far. Now, back in the day, there were some black women that were able to pass up for white because of their skin complexion, and that was the law. If you was light enough, if you was lighter than a brown paper bag or lighter than my skin complexion, you can pass up for white, right? But I wonder, how did she get away with this for so long? How did people not see that? Why did nobody call her ass out? How did she get away with pretending that she was black? How? And who was to blame for this? Why nobody did no background check on this woman? Let me go ahead and read the article. To escalating degree over my adult life, I have ensued my lived experience as a white Jewish child in suburban Kansas City under various assumed identities within a blackness that I had no right to claim. First, North African blackness, then U.S. rooted blackness, then Caribbean rooted Bronx blackness, she wrote. So this woman done went through different phases of blackness. She done claimed she was North American blackness, U.S., and then she claimed the Caribbeans. Okay. Then she wrote a book. It says, in Kruy's book, Fugitive Modernists or Modernities, published before her confession, she writes in her acknowledgments, my ancestors, unknown, unnamed, who bled life into a future they had no reason to believe could or should exist. My brother, the fastest, the smartest, the most charming of us all. Those whose names I cannot say for their own safety, whether in my barrio in Angola or Brazil. All right. And so she wrote that in January 4th of 2019. Then she goes on to say, Kruy went by the name Jessica La Bombalera in activist circles and could be seen speaking in New York City public hearing on police brutality in June. I'm Jessica Bombalera. I'm here in El Barrio, East Harlem. You probably have heard about it because you sold my fucking neighborhood to developers and gentrifiers. She began as she introduced herself. And a few moments later, she adds, I want to call out all these white New Yorkers who waited 4 hours with us to be able to speak and then did not yield their time for black and brown indigenous New Yorkers. Now, why couldn't you not do this as a white woman? If you were so passionate and you care so much about black people, why could you not do it as a white woman? Why the fuck you gotta steal our identity? The fuck? Well, you trying to get the black privilege? What, that's your way of trying to infiltrate? Is that the way of being controlling? Why could you not do it as a white woman? That's what I want to know. And let me continue. Those who knew Kruy as La Bombalera have taken to social media today to announce they are sad. I'm dazed and still processing my emotion, but mostly I feel betrayed, foolish, in many ways gaslit, said the author Robert Jones Jr. on Twitter. Kruy alludes in her Medium post to a traumatic childhood and mental health issues, but says she does not believe they can be used to excuse her behavior. Sure can't. It can't be used as an excuse for the behavior. To say that I clearly have been battling some unaddressed mental health demons for my entire life, as both an adult and child, is oblivious or obvious. Mental health issues like explain why I assumed a false identity initially as a youth and why I continue and develop it for so long. But mental health issues can never, will never, neither explain or nor justify, neither condone nor excuse that in spite of knowing and regularly critiquing any and every non-black person who appropriates from black people, my false identity was crafted entirely from the fabric of black lives, she wrote. The Guardian has reached out to Kruy and George Washington's University, Columbian College of Arts and Science in Washington, D.C. for a comment. In 2015, the civil rights activist and former chapter president of NAACP, Rachel Dolezal, was outed by her parents for impersonating a black person when she was born white. Dolezal owns history of childhood trauma was later revealed. Dolezal later referred to herself as the world's first trans black case. Okay, and that's it. I'm done. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be very blunt. That is some utterly disrespectful ass shit. It's utterly disrespectful because let me explain why. For 400 years, after all the shit that we deal with in this country, after all the benefit that these people are weeping, after all this shit, you want to turn around and say because you got childhood trauma that you want to pretend to be another race of people who has seriously dealt with oppression, who have dealt with being underprivileged, who has little to no generational wealth in this country. And you make a fool out of us. You capture our emotions. You play on our intelligence by pretending. Then when your ass get exposed, you want to get embarrassed. Well, you ought to be embarrassed. One thing I gotta say, that woman is sick. That woman is sick and she's so and something wrong with her. Cause if you doing that type of fuck shit, and y'all can kiss my ass with this transracial bullshit. And I'm starting to ask question about that other activist. What's his name? Sean King. I want to know, is Sean King really black or African American? That's what I want to know about Sean King. Or you just trying to win our emotions? Or you want to be in control? You play black in disguise, but using your white supremacy and your white privilege as a way of maintaining control. Hmm. So, anyways, all this shit right here, man. Everybody want to be black when it's convenient for them. But you don't want to deal with what black people going through. You don't have the guts. If you ain't gonna deal with the challenge, don't try to be us. As a matter of fact, just be yourself. That's who you are. You better off being yourself. Because obviously there is a lot of identity crisis going on. See, this woman hasn't been black all her life. She doesn't know what it's like growing up in a black family. I have been black all my life. I know what it's like growing up in a black family on both sides. And I could tell, I could speak on my experience as a black person and as a black woman, as an African American woman. But this white woman here, yeah, she studied the history about black people, but she can't never speak on what it's like to be black because she has no clue. She has never grew up like that. She grew up in the suburb. She grew up in a middle class family. She didn't have to grow up in the hood. She didn't have to struggle for nothing. Yes, now not to take away that there are black people in the middle class community, but there's more black folks in the hood. And this woman haven't grew up in the hood. You'll never get a taste of the black experience. You never know what it's like. It's one thing to be compassionate, but it's another thing when you're trying to be us and you can't do it. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some more people out there faking just so it could be more convenient. So yes, my thought on this is disrespectful. It's disrespectful as fuck, and somebody should have been done call her ass out on it. And she should have been done lost her job, been done lost her position. She should have never gotten away with that shit. Never. She should never got away with it. Never. Okay, anyways, but I'm gonna go ahead and log off this video. So it's pre-recorded and you guys can check it out later. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful day. Excuse me, a wonderful night. And please be safe. Until next time, deuces. Thank you. And I said all that I gotta say because this right here, I'm done. All right.